think we're going to have a lot of laughs today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about embarrassing moments. That's right. We're fessing up and talking all about those embarrassing times that we had to, it was so humbling. We didn't know what to do. We wanted to crawl our way out of the event or the situation, right? So embarrassing moments, we will share them together as the Take Two family because we're not afraid of that. We share everything on Take Two. So it's a welcoming platform. It's a wonderful opportunity to grow and learn together, and we love that, Jerry, right, of being with the Take Two family each and every weekday here on their show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you.
It is your show. You got to call and make it so today. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. You know, laughter is a part of life, and when we can laugh at ourselves, that makes it all the better, I think, sometimes. It can be a little bit humiliating if you go through an embarrassing moment at the time, but if there's something that you have done that was kind of a little, maybe even an inadvertent embarrassing moment, and you can look back and laugh about that now, call up, make our day, give a little joy to our day here on EWTN Radio. Embarrassing moments is what we are talking about. And, you know, I'm sorry to say this, but Debbie and I could fill the whole hour with our own embarrassing moments. But we want to hear yours. 833-288-3986.
I was just thinking that. I'm going, like, which one should we pick? One from thousands? I mean, we're always having those embarrassing moments or things that happen that you just go, why did I say that? I don't want to be part of this conversation anymore. This isn't going well. You know, those embarrassing moments, or if the spotlight's on you and you're like, no, I'm not doing too well today. So we're talking about those embarrassing moments. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. You can also text us if you want to text the comments about your embarrassing moments. You can do that as well. We'll share how to do that in a moment. But we'd really want you to call us and fill the phone lines because Matt Kabinski would love to speak to you. We have Charles Beery at the controls, Michael McCall on social media. Jerry and I are waving to you guys on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for keeping those chats going. But we're talking embarrassing moments today. And like I said, you don't have to be Catholic to call in. If you're listening, we think we are. We're a very friendly, safe platform to come together and share our lived experiences so that we can get to know one another better and to grow as the body of Christ. By the way, speaking of the body of Christ, one of our members of the body of Christ, Jim, called in. We've been praying for Danny and the results from Danny's MRI. They're waiting the results, and some folks are getting nervous about it. So please, Take Two family, continue to pray for Danny and the results of the MRI that's coming in. I'm sure it's going to probably come in today or this week. So we really want to pray for one of our Take Two family members. You know, we don't want anyone to feel anxious, uneasy, nervous about things. Prayer works, folks, and we believe in the power of prayer. So trust us with that. We have a prayer book that goes round the clock and a virtual prayer wall at take2show.com.
Yeah, well, speaking of prayer intentions, I got a text from a dear friend back in the Big Bear area in California. Gus is his name, and his brother is actually dealing with, here it says he's been in the hospital for almost a month with lymphoma, bone cancer, and now he's got a lesion on his left thigh that appears to be infected. So his name is Anthony. If you all would pray for the brother of a dear friend of mine, his name is Anthony, I would appreciate that, and I know that he would as well. So,
absolutely.
You know, we're never too busy to stop for a moment and ask for prayer here on Take Two.
And don't forget the souls in purgatory. I mean, souls needed, especially souls that have passed and have a lot of attachment to sin and things that they need to, reconcile and make amends for. I heard just recently, about an hour ago, that O.J. Simpson passed away. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yes, we have to remember everybody that passed. But that's not what we're talking about today. We just had to get those prayer intentions in. Today, we're talking about embarrassing moments. We have the phone line starting to light up. That is great. We need to hear from you. If you could share your embarrassing moment, keep it, clean and everything, make it presentable for live talk radio. But share some embarrassing moments and maybe what you learned from that embarrassing embarrassing moment, not just a dose of humility. What else you learned from it? Maybe you learned about how people respond to things like that, how courteous people can be, how forgiving, how sympathetic. Maybe learning to laugh at yourself is probably a good thing we need to learn, right? For that dose of humility. 833-288-3986. But I'll let you, Jerry, do the honors because this is really cool. We could have our Take Two family text us as well.
Well, we can. Yeah, actually, you can text the letters EWTN to 58177. Wait for our response, then text us your first name and your brief take on the topic today. Message and data rates may apply, but that's EWTN. Text the letters EWTN to 58177. And you can also post on the show website, take2show.com. You can email us, take2@ewtn.com. And, of course, we already did a wave and a shout-out to those of you watching the video stream on YouTube or Facebook. I had a massive embarrassing moment that I don't even know if I shared with you and the show team, Debbie. But
tell us.
When I got to the Basilica of St. Paul here in Daytona Beach, where I'm doing my pastoral year, God willing, I'll be back in the seminary this fall for studies. I was serving at Mass shortly after I got here. And we go down with the priest, of course, to receive the gifts that are brought up, the bread and the wine and the basket of food that symbolizes our gift to God. And I forgot there was one more step. So I put my foot out straight ahead, thinking I was on flat ground, and I stuck my foot right into a step. I went flying forward. Thankfully, I had the basket of food and not the cruet of wine or the host. Yeah, I landed on both knees, sprawled out. The basket went sailing away and it was a packed church. There had to be 400 or 500 people in church.
Oh no, that's a horrible, embarrassing moment.
It was, yeah. I mean, I can look back on it and laugh now, but at that time, I was kind of worried about my knees actually, because as you know, and a lot of people know, I have really bad knees, but there was no, residual damage from that. But what about you, Take Two family? Let's all just kind of, share something in our lives that was kind of an embarrassing moment. Maybe you can get a chuckle out of it now. Maybe you howled with laughter when it happened. But let's share these and have a little lighthearted conversation today at 833-288-3986.
I have so many embarrassing moments. I'm so used to it. I kind of just roll with it. Really,
life is
I'm
one
being serious.
giant humiliation, right?
Yeah. So true. Embarrassing moments today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We want to hear from you. Fill up those phone lines. Let's go, you guys. We'll share our embarrassing moments. Jerry already shared one of his. So keep calling 833-288-3986.
This is Father Thomas Loya. Join me as I explore the rites of the Eastern Catholic Churches on Light of the East, Sunday morning, 11:30 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Someone recently asked me, how do you explain that Jesus did so much for people 2,000 years ago, but doesn't now? So I asked, are you letting Him make a difference in you now? God has revealed all we need for happiness and peace, but we have to let His Word impact the way we think if it's going to make a difference in our lives. St. Paul tells us, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Jesus told His apostles, who He knew would face tremendous trials, do not let your hearts be troubled. He wasn't inviting them to receive peace. He was commanding them to claim it. Want God's Word to make a difference in you? Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. It starts by not letting your hearts be troubled or given to fear, anxiety, negativity, and constant complaining. Fill your heart with gratitude, truth, beauty, goodness, and the things of God. Then, regardless of your circumstances, you'll see Jesus making all the difference in you. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
Pray for the protection of unborn children with a free pro-life prayer ebook to help guide you in prayer, to change the hearts of those who compromise the call to protect and defend life. Get your free ebook today at EWTN.com/profile.
EWTN. Live truth, live Catholic.
We are live with you today on EWTN Radio. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you, talking about an embarrassing moment that you've had in your life. At some point, it may have been 30 years ago, it may have been last week. When it happened doesn't matter, but we are all kind of sharing a laugh about ourselves here today on the program at 833 288-3986. We have calls we're going to get to in a moment. Before that, though, check out this new book from EWTN Publishing. It's called Spiritual Lightning, Answering Your Call from Jesus to Master His Values by Deacon Richard Eason. You know, St. Paul was struck down by divine power from a bolt of spiritual lightning. In our own lives, we also may experience moments of spiritual lightning, whether subtly, dramatically, or circumstantially. And through personal anecdotes and inspiring stories, Deacon Eason reveals how to develop strength and courage during times of suffering and ways to obtain healing. He shows you how to garner the benefits of, quote, autopilot faith, end quote, and develop trust in God through prayer, leading to positive transformation, spiritual tranquility, and increased joy and happiness. It's Spiritual Lightning, Answering Your Call from Jesus to Master His Values by Deacon Richard Eason, available now by Catholic. Okay, shop EWTNRC.com.
So Marty, my husband, he doesn't like to be embarrassed. He gets mortified if there's an embarrassing moment. I think I handle it better because I'm kind of used to it now. But Marty, I have to be very protective that make sure that he doesn't have any embarrassing moments. I don't know if that comes from his childhood. He's the youngest child of a big family, but so am I. I don't know how come I'm okay with it. Do you know, are you okay
Practice
with being
maybe.
embarrassed? Practice. Are you okay with being embarrassed?
I'm a lot more okay with it now than I used to be,
Yeah.
just because I know that the only way to grow in humility is to be humiliated. So
True.
I try and look at the bright side. I'm thinking, okay, God, thank you. I appreciate this,
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's interesting. You appreciate every experience, right? So that's interesting. That's how we can weave that into our spirituality. Come on, you guys, pick up those last open phone lines. You know what? Come on, share. You guys are not completely 100% perfect. Okay, you must have had some kind of embarrassing moment. Share it with us. We're all friends and family members here. 833-288-3986. And if you are perfect, share that as well, that you've never in your whole entire life had anything that embarrassed you and had you get really red-faced. I know there was a young boy that my son went to school with in elementary school, and every time he would get embarrassed, Jerry, his whole entire face and neck would turn bright red, and I mean bright red, like tomato red. I felt so bad for him.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
That is kind of sad, yeah, but...
Yeah, especially when your body, responds that way, because then everybody knows you're embarrassed, The one part about being embarrassed, Jerry, is you got to kind of act cool through it. Like, I'm not embarrassed.
I'm okay. I'm good. I meant that.
I meant to do that. I meant to trip on that stair.
I meant
right in front of the altar.
Sprawling in the sanctuary, yeah. Okay, well, let's go to your takes here. Embarrassing moments, 833-288-3986. Kara called in first in Massachusetts, so you get on the air first, listening on iCatholic Radio. Hi, Kara, welcome.
Hey, Jerry and Debbie. Nice to talk to you guys again.
Thank you.
So I do 18th century, Revolutionary War reenacting with my family. And
Cool.
I dress as a lady, obviously. Some ladies dress like men, but I dress as a lady. There's a lot of gear you wear. You wear a shift. You wear a petticoat. I had a gown on. You wear this great, big, ridiculous hat. And at the event that I was attending, there were no regular bathrooms. There were just porta potties there. So, I get myself into the porta potty. I've got a lot of clothing I need to shift around. And apparently in doing so, my elbow must have unlocked the door to the porta potty.
Oh, no.
So instead of being red on the outside, it was green, and someone thought it was free and opened the door, and I was like, someone's in here. Flipping out. I mean, nothing was visible. I had plenty of clothes on, but
Sure.
yeah, it was
But
really
still.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to walk out of that porta potty.
Well, now you that is unbelievable. Wait a minute, Kara, I have to ask you a question. Is what you do with the reenactments, is that similar to the movie like Sweet Home Alabama, where they do those Civil War reenactments, those things?
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, okay.
Civil War. So we do Revolutionary War. So we actually
okay.
have a huge event coming up on Monday,
Got
the
it.
March to Concord. So we'll leave at 4:30 in the morning, and we'll march all the way from the town where I live into Concord, and it's a big event. So there's
Okay,
a lot of
that is
Revolutionary
cool.
War stuff up here. It really is fun, but not when someone catches you in the porta potty. That's
Right.
a little less fun.
Need to reach outside and put an out of order sign on that one so people won't try getting
Yeah,
in for a few minutes.
I know. And so now I really try to avoid events that I can't use a real bathroom.
Well, Kara, you got me thinking as you just said that. So, I remember Jerry and I were on a pledge drive and we were coming home, and he went on one plane, I went on another plane because I was coming back to Arizona. At the time he was going to California, and I was still talking to him by cell phone because we were finishing up our conversation as we were walking to our gates to get on our planes. And I said, I better stop, off and go to the restroom. And I'm talking to Jerry on the phone, on the cell phone. And I walked into the men's restroom, and I'm in the, yes. And all of a sudden I turn around and there's all men in there. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. So I was in the wrong, but you know what's interesting? Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has done that, but when you're talking on the phone and you're trying to do something else, and they've done the studies that said you can't multitask, right? I wonder how many other people, well, they say people walk into walls or they hit into poles, like if they're walking on the street or something. It's very dangerous to talk on the cell phone and do something else.
Yeah, well, I was not on the phone. I was just trying to move my clothing around in a very tight space.
And bless
Jerry,
your
we're
heart.
really excited for you, Jerry, to come up to Boston and be at the seminary up here. So
yeah,
we had a deacon from the seminary out at our church in Clinton. So maybe we'll see you someday.
Oh yeah, God willing. Yeah, you can always email me. It's seminaryjerry@gmail.com. For anybody who wants to email, I can kind of keep people updated on that. But yeah, I got a few more months to go on my pastoral year here in Florida, but hoping to be at Pope St. John the 23rd National Seminary in the Boston area this fall. So thanks, Kara. Thanks for the prayers, Kara. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, maybe we'll run into you.
Good Lord willing, yeah. Thanks,
you. Kara.
Have a blessed day. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful call.
I was in the store just a couple days ago, and there was a guy looking down at his phone, walking right toward me. I was pushing I was pushing my cart, and I thought, I better stop. So I stopped, and then I just went, "Look up, bruh! Look up, bruh! Look up!" Because
did he look up?
Yeah, he looked up just in time. He goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry." So I just didn't want you to get hurt. That's all. You can be on your phone all you want.
They said people have fallen downstairs talking on the phone.
I believe it. I believe it. People probably gotten hurt pretty badly because of things like that.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is don't talk on the cell phone and do something else.
Walk into the wrong restroom.
Sit still. Okay, so Kara just freed that phone line. If you'd like to share your most embarrassing moment, 833-288-3986. We'll go to Kathy in Roswell, Georgia, on our friends at the Quest. Hi, Kathy. Take it away.
Hello. I love your show. It's my favorite. It's raining here, so
thank
sorry
you,
it might
Kathy.
be a little loud. You're welcome. You're welcome. So my funny story has to do with Bible study. So I was going to this women's Bible study, and each time the woman who ran it, she would give kind of like a reflection on the study for the week before we broke into small groups. And after she'd give her little presentation, we would play a song, a reflection song that she chose related to the lesson. And so the lady who had been doing this was a young girl, and she couldn't do it anymore. And so she's like, who has a little, speaker? And I was like, well, I do have one, but, I'm not good with technology. And no one else said they could do it, whatever. And I am pretty reliable. I'm there, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. But look, I'm not good at this. I hope I don't mess this up. So the first week we do it, and I practiced it. It was the YouTube song. I had it ready to go. I paired it with my Bose speaker before the, lesson started, and I thought, okay, it's going to be fun. And so my kids had found this radio station that we liked on Pandora, and it was called Blue Suede Radio. It played 60s and 70s kind of fun hit songs or whatever. So anyway, so I go to play this song for Bible study in an adoration chapel. Everyone's just heard this great homily, and I click play, and it goes to Pandora, and it plays the Hooked on a Feeling, ooka shaka, it's like, and blaring through the adoration chapel. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to close it off. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. So somebody comes over and helps me get it fixed. And, okay, so that was the first week. I thought I was going to just die of embarrassment. I sit down, my face is so I can feel sweat pouring down. We've all listened to the correct song, thinking, same thing happens again with the same song. Ooga shaka, ooga shaka. Okay, so I'm like, Carrie, I told you I couldn't do this job. Like, why are you having an old lady do this? You need a young girl who's good at technology. So she's like, no, you'll be fine. It could have happened to anybody. Okay, do you know the third week in a row, it did the same thing. Afterwards, I went up to her. I said, I quit my volunteer job. I'm so sorry. I cannot do this. Like, I am so embarrassed. It was horrifying. Everybody just was having a good laugh. They're like, Gabby, it's fine. But here's that. To this day, I cannot stand that song. Every time I hear it, I think, Lord, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, anyway, so that song is my nightmare now. I know, isn't that funny? But anyway, I used to think it was a cute song, but not anymore. So that's my embarrassment in front of Jesus of messing up. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. That's the song.
Wow, that's a blast from the past, Kathy, because I got my start in radio as a disc jockey. I played records for many, many years, and I remember that song very, very well. But I have to hand it to you for your perseverance. You know, it took 3 times before you stopped doing that. With me, I probably would have bailed out after the first one, said, you know what, Lord, this just isn't going to work out. So I applaud you for your perseverance and your staying power, Kathy.
Me too, Kathy.
Thank you. The moral of that story is get young people to do technology, right?
Right.
Oh, definitely, Kathy. I learned that the hard way at the church. I mean, I'd rather have like a 4-year-old help me with some of the soundboards at the church. I mean, because I'll tell you, some of that is, I mean, and the little kids, they know everything. They just start moving levers. They know everything.
Yeah.
You're right, Kathy. It's amazing. God bless you. Thank you for the kind words. Enjoy the day. Thank you. Wow. Isn't that true, though, that have you ever seen these really, like, toddlers in the strollers, and they're on iPads?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that? That's, like, amazing.
Yes, I know. I have some thoughts on that, but it's for another show.
I mean, when we were growing up, we had, like, rubber toys and teething rings and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they might try teething on an iPad or something,
I've seen kids do that.
Yeah,
I've seen kids do that on cell phones. That's kind of dangerous, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Great calls from Kara and Kathy. Now we're waiting for you, so don't forget to leave it on Facebook as well and YouTube. Michael McCall's there to pick up those comments and the embarrassing moments. And so, Jerry, where would you like to proceed next?
Well, Diana's in Colorado, so let's go there.
Okay.
Listening on the EWTN app today. Hello, Diana. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. I love your show. Unfortunately, I can't get it on the. You're welcome. Unfortunately, I can't get it on our radio. I was telling you, the one that answered the call was that Michael McCall.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling him we have this intercom system. We've lived in this house for over 31 years, and some stations come in beautiful, but yours is all staticky. I didn't try it this morning, so I don't know what's going on with that. So I listen to it on my cell phone when I can.
Oh, thank
you. Anyway,
Actually,
Debbie, I met you at Light of the World last December. Do you remember me?
Yes, Diana. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, my embarrassing moment, I was debating whether to call, but I was really young, like probably about 18. My sister and I went to San Antonio, Texas, and to be with our aunt. I think we were there 2 or 3 months. So for some reason, I got a job, and I was working at this Italian restaurant picking up dirty dishes, spaghetti. And I accidentally dropped one, and it went all down this guy's white shirt. There was a bunch of guys, I think, at the table, and I was so embarrassed. And they were all laughing. They were saying, and I was trying to clean it up, and they were saying, "Oh, she's making a pass at you," or something like that. Well, I can remember, but it was so embarrassing.
Well, Diana, don't let it embarrass you anymore, because those of us who have worked in Italian restaurants, I have for many years, so has my husband, Marty. It happens to all of us. That tomato sauce seems to get everywhere, on the walls, on the floor, everywhere. That's why, I mean, people ask me all the time, why do I mainly wear the color black? That's the reason, because I eat Italian food probably 5 days a week, and I'm not going to have tomato sauce on a white shirt. It just doesn't work. And I don't care what everybody says, how, you can get this cleaner or that cleaner, spot cleaner. It doesn't work. Tomato sauce just embeds itself right into white clothing, and you can get it dry clean, but you probably have to do it quickly. So Diana, be at peace. We've all been in that same boat.
And then when you were talking about walking accidentally into the men's restroom, my husband did that in the locker room at a gym. I don't know if he got all the way in, and it just like, I was laughing when you said that, but oh my gosh, he told me that night, he's like so embarrassed.
Oh, I was mortified, Diana, because
that's the way he was.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. I was still talking on the phone, so I'm standing in the restroom, standing in the center area, and I'm talking to Jerry and just talking, and all these men are staring at me, going, "What are you doing in here?"
Oh gosh, how embarrassing! Yeah.
I know. I did say I was sorry, though. I said sorry, and they said, "Yeah. Get out of the restroom."
Yeah. Get out of here! Oh no.
Right, but Diana, you are
God
precious.
bless you,
Thank
Diana.
you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day, Debbie and Jerry.
Thanks, you too. You know, one thing that's kind of tangentially refreshing about this broadcast today is we're actually talking about it still being a problem walking into the restroom of the opposite sex. You know, it's some of us still think that's not a good thing to do, which I find a little refreshing that we're all coming from that perspective in this crazy world we live in. Embarrassing moments. What was yours? 833-288-3986.
This is a Pro-Life Minute with doctors Stephen and Gracie Christie.
Steve, here's a pro-choice argument which has never made any sense to me. That an embryo or fetus is unaware of its own destruction, so abortion simply doesn't matter.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Awareness of harm has never been required to make an act morally wrong, nor should it. A drunken woman, for example, passed out at a fraternity party might never know she was raped by 3 men. Does her lack of awareness somehow make the rape acceptable? Of course not. A morally wrong act is morally wrong whether or not it is observed or felt.
You could say the same for a patient under anesthesia, completely unaware of what might be happening to her body. We always treat such patients with the utmost respect and care despite their being totally unaware of their circumstances and their bodily integrity.
Absolutely.
For more on the culture of life, go to EWTN.com/pro-life.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie is on YouTube. Search YouTube to find the EWTN YouTube channel so you'll never miss an episode of our show or any of your favorite EWTN radio shows.
Hi, this is Father Mike Schmitz. Please join me for Ascension's Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year here on EWTN Radio. We're going through the entire Bible and the Catechism in 365 days. If you've ever wanted to understand what it means to be Catholic and allow those truths to shape your life, this is for you.
Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Have you had a laugh, or has someone else had a laugh at your expense in the past? Recent or long distance in the past, it doesn't matter. We're talking about embarrassing moments today, having a really, I think, a lively conversation, and definitely getting a chuckle out of what you share at 833-288-3986. And Debbie, you want to go back to the phones, but you wanted to share something about your dear late mother.
Yeah, my late mother, Connie, she was hilarious. My mother was so funny. But I've shared this before, but we have new listeners. So just picture this, you guys, going into a grocery store. Everybody can picture going into a grocery store. So my mom and dad many years ago went into a grocery store to do their shopping. And my mom saw across the aisle a bunch of nuns, about 6 nuns. They were in their habits, and they were beautiful nuns. And my mother always loves the nuns. She grew up right next to a convent. She wanted to be a nun. Her sister is a nun. She just loves the nuns. She's in awe of all the religious sisters. And so my mom broke away from my dad and made a beeline to the nuns. And she just said, "Oh, sister, hi, it's good to meet you." And she's talking to them and everything. And then my mother proceeds to... My mother proceeds to take their shopping cart, and she's filling it with groceries and starts pushing them out of the grocery store without paying for anything. She was all excited to buy them, everything. She wasn't thinking that she didn't pay for it. My dad was mortified, so embarrassed. My dad went up to the clerk at the store and said, I don't know. I don't know what her problem is. I'll pay for everything. My dad was mortified, and the nuns go, no, please stop pushing us out the door without paying for everything. My mom was shoving more groceries in the cart. Now that is embarrassing. My mother could have gotten arrested that day.
Yeah, well, no, nobody's going to arrest a beautiful lady like that. But that is hilarious.
But I said to her, Mom, what were you thinking? She goes, I wasn't. They were just such beautiful nuns. So anyway, that's pretty embarrassing. Anyway.
Well, a lot of nuns do get food donated by people, so, you know.
Well, that's why she was trying to do something nice, but,
Right.
you got to pay for it first, Mom. Anyway, it was pretty funny. That's an embarrassing moment. But let's hear what Catherine has to say in South Carolina on Sirius XM 130. Hey, Catherine, welcome.
Hey, I love that story about the nuns. But I don't know, I could see that happening in my family. But my story is when I was in probably, I think like 8th grade probably, I was in the marching band. So middle school and high school were all in one band. It was a tiny town. We only had 2 traffic lights. And me and my friend and my brother, between school and a high school football game, we went to one of the 2 restaurants in town, and we're having pizza. And he got talking about his older sister, who was either like a junior or senior, and he was talking about how nasty she was. She was also in the band, and I agreed with him, of course. And I had a very poor choice of words that I said about her that I won't repeat on the radio. And then I looked over, and at the table next to us was my friend and his mean sister's mom. She was also at the pizza place right before the football game, and she was also a teacher at our school. So for another 4 years, while I'm at 3 or 4 years, whatever age, 8th and 9th grade I was, like, all I could think of whenever I was with her was like, oh yeah, you remember one of the first times you ever heard me talk was about saying about your daughter, and like all I could ever think was like, does she like think I'm really bad for saying that, or does she kind of agree because she had a lot of problems with her daughter, or like it made me realize that just because something might be true doesn't mean that it's good to say it all the time. And I always think about that as probably my most embarrassing moment. There are definitely others, but that's kind of the key one. And even though it was when I was a kid and I don't get nearly as embarrassed by a lot of stuff now that I'm just older, I always think of that one as being the most embarrassing thing.
Wow. Those are those moments, Catherine, you just wish you had the comments were like a fishing line. You could just reel them back in and say, give me
yes,
give me
I wish
that
I could. And I'm a lot more careful with what I say and who I say it to and where I say it. And you just can't say those things. But I don't know. It's kind of a good reminder that just because I might not do certain things doesn't mean I'm perfect.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, we think you're pretty awesome, Catherine.
Oh, well, thank you. And I don't know if you're short on callers. I thought of one while I was on the line, which is not nearly as serious or anything, but
Sure,
I don't
go
have to
for it.
share it.
No, go for it.
I think it was Kathy who was your caller before, and the call screener had talked to me, so I didn't hear her whole story. But same school district, but a few years early, I had first moved to South Carolina from another state. My first day of school, I was in 5th grade. And I wanted to meet new kids, new school, new state, everything. And first day of school, we were playing tag at recess. And for whatever reason, there was like kind of a bump in the ground, and I tripped, and I fell on my knees. I didn't get hurt or anything, but everybody was like, are you okay? Are you okay? The teacher asked. And I was so embarrassed. And my parents asked me, how was your first day of school? I had like a new school, everything. And that was the only thing I could think about. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, don't worry. It's the embarrassing things are going to happen like that all the time. And then the very next day, I was playing tag, and I fell down in the same spot.
Oh.
And I was just mortified. And I was like, I kind of ended up being clumsy because I fell quite a bit, but in school and stuff. But yeah, like just because you think, oh, you got that out of your system doesn't mean it's not going to happen again.
Right. Wow.
That's amazing.
You
Okay,
made me
thanks.
think. What? I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Catherine made me think of so many things. Catherine, about remember the swing sets when we were kids in the playground, the swing sets.
Yeah.
I remember so many kids thinking they could jump off those swing sets, and do like flying, that they do like a flying,
Trapeze
dismount.
artist or something.
Yeah. And I've seen so many kids go slamming into the pavement. It's terrible. But why did we think we could do that?
I don't know.
I know. Do you remember those days, Catherine?
What did you say?
About the swing sets, people jumping off the swing sets and trying to act like they were like, they could land real perfectly, and then they end up falling into the pavement.
Yeah, I mean, it was always a broken arm. People would say, well, how'd you break your arm? Oh, I jumped off the swing.
Yeah. And I don't understand why they didn't put like some kind of sign on there that said, be very careful. There's no, lifeguard on duty. Seriously, because people, honestly, you probably don't remember. You were a boy, and so you probably didn't play on swing sets as much as girls did back in the day. But that is true what Catherine's saying. People had more broken arms, and they dislocated this and that from trying to jump off those handlebars.
I believe it.
Yeah. Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. In fact, she made me think of a couple of embarrassing moments as well. If there's time, I'll share one from 6th grade that was very embarrassing. But we want to hear from you, the Take Two family. Thanks again, Catherine. Have a beautiful and blessed day. 833-288-3986. We were talking today on this live broadcast of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you about embarrassing moments. Come on. We haven't heard from any guys. Have we had any men calling
guys,
today?
I don't think we have it. We had a couple, but I think you guys dropped
Come
off.
on,
Call
you
back.
guys.
We need the guys' embarrassing
Fess
stories.
up, man.
Yeah, you can't let Jerry just share his story about walking up to the altar and falling. I don't mean to giggle, but you know what I mean. Sometimes when people fall, you just naturally giggle because you feel bad for them, but it's not like you're laughing at them. You're just kind of giggling. Have you ever done that? I have. So Matt Gabinski, he's so smart. So I know that a lifeguard is for swimming pools, but I couldn't think of what to name it. So for swing sets, it should be air guard. No air guard on duty.
Right. Here's a number if you want to get in on this fun conversation, 833-288-3986. Let's talk with Denise in Massachusetts today, listening on the Station of the Cross. Welcome, Denise.
Oh, hi, Debbie and Jerry. It's a great show, and I just was laughing again, and I said, I have to call in. This happened quite a long time ago. I was working in an office, and it was mostly men that I worked with. I worked with a bunch of salesmen. But this other young woman and I were running out to lunch, and we only had 45 minutes, and I'm grabbing my coat and put it on, and we're just chatting, and as we're going out the door, one of the salesmen, who had a real dry sense of humor, said, Denise, you have my coat on. And I thought he was just trying to be silly. And I said, what? I said, it's my coat. And I continued to talk to my friend because she was in the middle of telling me something. So we opened the door to the building, and he followed us, and he said, Denise, you have my coat on. And I was bent over laughing because I looked and the sleeves were beyond my knuckles. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And if he had just laughed, I think I would have believed him because he was like so serious. And my friend, we were practically crying. We were laughing so hard. And I just said, and he just very calmly took the coat back. I went back in and got my coat.
That's hilarious. But Denise and Jerry, you have to admit to this one. Have you ever gone up to somebody else's parked car thinking it was your own, and you're trying to get into the car, and somebody goes, that's my car, and you're like, no, it's my car, and you're fighting over the car?
Well, usually I talk to myself, and I hope no one's watching me talk to myself. I'll say, oh, that's not my car, and then, I walk away. But, yeah.
Oh, that's precious, Denise. I just don't understand why he wasn't more comical about it, because obviously the coat didn't fit you, and it's not like you were taking the coat. You work with the guy.
I think made my friend and I laugh so hard if he didn't just say, "Oh my gosh, you're wearing my coat" or something like that, but he was just, "You have my coat on."
Yeah.
And I'm kind of listening to her, and I said, "This is my coat." Yeah.
Well, you could have been kind of, just had a quick rebuttal saying, fine then, take the coat back.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Jerry, I have a question. Did anyone help you get up when you fell at Mass? Were people all
Denise, that's so
over to
funny.
help?
I was going to ask him that after the show. That is so funny. Yeah, did people help you, and did they pick up everything you dropped?
Well, it's a wicker basket, and they have 3 or 4 cold cereal boxes in there, which represents the gift of food other than the bread and the wine that we give to the Lord. So that went sliding across the sanctuary area. No, nobody helped me up. In fact, the pastor walked past me and just looked down and said, "You okay?"
The pastor did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was very concerned actually. But
Oh,
what do
he
you do
was.
in the middle of Mass? I mean, if I was hurt and had laid there, he would have done something. But I kind of sprang to my feet as quickly as I could. No, Denise, there was nobody there to help me up. But I like I said, the biggest surprise to me was my knees didn't suffer something horrible, because I have bad knees and I landed squarely on both of them. But anyway, yeah. Anything else, Denise, you wanted to add?
No, thank you so much. Great show.
Oh, thank you. Well,
thank you,
you made
Denise.
it great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was a great call. So I guess I'm not understanding this. So you really didn't drop everything all over the place. It was in boxes.
Well, it was in a wicker basket. Yeah, there were cold cereal boxes in a wicker basket. They didn't come out. No, it just slid across the sanctuary floor, almost to the spot where we put it anyway. So
maybe you could have just said I was throwing it there.
Yeah, this is just a new way of doing it, Father. I mean, come on.
Thought I'd save some time, Father.
Yeah, switch things up a little bit.
Okay, that's hilarious. All right, let's go to Kathy in Duluth, Minnesota on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Kathy. We're having a blast today. Join us.
Well, it is fun. Good morning. This is not really an embarrassing moment, but it's regarding my 5-year-old grandson, and it may be embarrassing someday for him, but Grandma and Grandpa were vacationing in Florida, and our 5-year-old grandson came to visit. We had a condo right on the beach. Early in the morning, I wake up to, Grandma, look, it's Jesus. Jesus is walking on the beach. So I go running out to the patio and look to see what he saw. And here was a nun in full. She had her full garment on. She had the rosary. She had her head covered, just strolling the beach. And Grandma, look, he's even wearing his sandals. So I just think someday he might be a little embarrassed.
Yeah, that is funny. Did you talk about it with him? Did you try to explain anything to him, or just kind of let him have his moment there?
No, we did after a while, and he looked for her every morning, and one of the other callers, I believe, made a comment about the nuns, how the nuns were so important in their life. And going to a Catholic grade school, it was also for myself. And I do remember one day walking past the lunchroom, or the room where the nuns would go and have their lunch. Well, I had so much respect for them. I never thought of them eating a sandwich or eating like I did. They were above all that. And they left the door cracked one day, and I walked by and I saw them giggling and eating their sandwiches, and I carry that memory throughout my adulthood.
Wow.
Kind of shattered your image, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so that's nice.
Kathy, talking about grandkids, I think it's so beautiful. And kids are so innocent. They're so precious. And I sometimes I wish we could get back to that, because it's the world kind of makes us all kind of jaded a bit and skeptical, and, we don't trust certain things and all kinds of things that make us kind of guarded. But kids are just they're just so awesome. I mean, they've created TV shows about what the things that kids say and all that kind of stuff. I love that you shared about grandkids, Kathy. That's awesome.
Let's have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
All right. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
I wanted to share real quickly before we get back to the phones. By the way, we do have full phone lines, so you guys are now sharing your embarrassing moments. Thank you very much. Join us for Family Theater Classic Radio on Sunday night at 11:30 p.m. Family Theater Classic Radio was founded in 1947 by Father Patrick Peyton, who wanted to create a show based on the principle that the family that prays together stays together. This week's episode is a story about a young girl, Susan, who quits school to be a ballet dancer like her mother.
How nice.
I love that.
EWTN has you covered with the widest variety of programming. Just keep your radio dial here, your app right here, your Alexa, however you're listening to the program. You may be watching on YouTube like Michael M. is. Michael said, I showed up at work one day. My office was in a mall. The security guard wanted to know what I was doing there. Long story short, I forgot to turn my clock ahead for daylight standard time. So he showed up, I guess, an hour early for work.
Hour early.
Funny.
Wow. Oh, there's so many. We should do this show again. There's so many more embarrassing moments I can think of now. Okay, Frank in Ohio, you're up next on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Frank.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Great. How about you?
Calling from rainy Ohio. Typical Ohio, Northeast Ohio weather. So I'm not originally from Ohio. Many years ago, this is in the late 1980s, I was visiting my late wife's mother in New Jersey, and, I was in kind of a good mood, spunky, happy mood, so her phone rang. This is well before caller ID. I answer the phone, and this is what I said. I said, County Moore, you kill him, we chill him. And the woman on the other end of the line, there was this very noticeable pause. And she starts speaking and asking if she could speak to Marie McDermott, who was my mother-in-law. And I said, oh, okay, sure. And, well, that wasn't the embarrassing part was the reason she was calling my mother-in-law was to tell her she was a distant relative, that her husband had just died.
Oh,
no.
Oh, Frank.
And I answered the call. I answered the phone like that.
Oh,
my wife was a good sport. God rest her soul. She'll be dead 16 years come next Wednesday. Wow. And she died very young. She was only 49. Had ovarian cancer. But her mother, the one whose house we were at in New Jersey, lived to be just like 4 months shy of being 100. Just passed away a year and a half ago, I guess it was now, year and a half, yeah. So anyway, that's one embarrassing moment for this guy.
I'll say. I think you might have taken the cake here, Frank.
Yeah. Frank, do we have your wife's name in our prayer book?
I don't think so. Her name was Terry McDermott.
Terry, okay. We're so sorry. That is a tough cancer, and to take her at such a young age. Did you have children with Terry?
Three. One of them, unfortunately, passed away. He was her child. You could put his name in the book. His name was Kevin. He had a very tortured life, drug abuse, mental illness. My other two sons that we had together, one is a lieutenant colonel in the Army. Oh, wow. The other is a major in the Army. They're both West Point grads.
Wow.
And
must be so
they're lifers in the Army.
Wow. That's interesting, Frank. My brother's a West Point graduate.
Is that right? What year?
Yeah. I knew you were going to ask me that. It had to be in the 80s. It had to be because I was
80s?
Yeah, it had to be in the 80s. My brother's 62.
So he's a little young. He's younger than me. So you got to live the experience vicariously as a sister.
I did.
It's quite an experience that the cadets go through.
Well, yeah, just kind of fun. A little trivia of my family growing up. My brother is my oldest. My brother, one up from me, is a West Point graduate, and then my other brother, one up from him, is a Citadel graduate. He's a retired colonel in the Marine Corps.
Wow. Well, it's okay. Well, thank them for their service.
Yes, and thank your sons for the service as well, sir.
Yeah, they're good guys. They're both kind of married to the Army.
I bet. Yeah, that happens. And with the military, you get it becomes part of your being. Yeah, absolutely. Frank, you're awesome. We've got your whole family in the prayer book. Thank you for calling, sir.
Take care.
All right. Okay. God bless. Running short on time. We'll get to as many of you as we can. Embarrassing moments today. What a conversation this has been. We definitely, as Debbie said, we'll definitely do this again. Maria is in Texas, listening on our friends at the Guadalupe Radio Network. Hello, Maria. Thanks for calling.
Hi, thank you. I love your show.
Oh, thanks.
Especially today, so funny. Everything's so funny. Yeah. Hey, I'm calling from Texas, and when I used to work, I had to take off from work and take my mom, which was an hour and a half away, 2 hours away from here, and I had to take her to the doctor. And then after I picked her up from there, I would take another hour drive to another town to her doctor's appointment. And one of the times that I did that, I had my nephew, which is a grandson, lived over there, and so we went to eat. And while we were eating, I said, I need to excuse myself, and I went to the ladies' room. And I don't know, for some reason, they had the toilet paper on the counter. And so when I left the bathroom, I went back to my chair, and I sat down, and my nephew was just laughing. And I said, what's so funny? He says, what do you do with the toilet paper on the table? I said, what? He said, I had it under my arm. I don't know why I put it under my arm, And I said, what? He said, the toilet paper under your arm. I said, oh, my goodness. I saw that I had it. I said, it was so embarrassing. I said, so I took it. And I had to leave and take it back to the bathroom. My mom and my nephew and my niece were all just laughing at me. And I don't know how many people saw me. It was they said, I thought you were going to use it as a napkin. My nephew said, he was always funny. He said, I thought you were using it as a napkin. I said, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it can be, multi-purpose paper,
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Wow. Thank you so much for gracing this conversation, Maria. You are awesome. God bless you. Jerry, we only have a couple minutes left. We have comments coming in too, but the main comment is they want us to do this show again.
We will definitely do that. Absolutely. Ann in South Carolina, if you can do it in 60 seconds, we will get you on the program. We're running short on time. Go ahead, Ann.
Okay, hi. I was walking on my lunch break to South Street Seaport. I went into Ann Taylor, and I saw a pair of jeans. I tried them on, and I have a very, very high arch. So I got the jeans on. I couldn't get them off. So I went to the lady, and I said, ma'am, I said, I can't get the jeans off I tried on. She goes, well, what? She said, what? I said, I can't get the jeans off. So she goes, okay. So she locked the store. It took 1 hour. I had to explain why I was late getting back to work. It was unbelievable. I couldn't get the jeans over my arch on my foot to get the pants off. So that was my embarrassing moment.
But you know what, though? That's understandable. Sometimes those jeans are very, very tight. So I've struggled too. I think other people have as well. So you're good to go, Ann. Thank you so much. That was a precious story. We're not going to get to Michelle in Pensacola, Florida, or Ann in Colorado, or the others. We're so sorry, but we will put this on the calendar for a future episode.
Yeah, we have an encore show tomorrow, not live. We will be back live on Monday with Do You Think It Was an Angel? Want to thank our angels, Matt Gubensky, call screener, Charles Beery, our producer, Michael McCall on social media, and affiliates. Thank you so much for carrying Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN. Without you, we wouldn't have a show, and of course, Take Two family. Without you, we wouldn't have a show either, and you made this a great one. Hope that you all have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Gemma Galgani, please pray for us and all the saints. Amen.
Well, another week in the Easter season. I'm Ace McKay as we get into this week's